guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today we are doing Comic Uno episode 66, and this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show, and thank God we are up to a regular number of comics again, about 14 comics. It's a lot better than having 20 comics to read and try binge reading them, but let's get started with number 14, Worst Pick of the Week. Pop, issue 2. Now, I liked the first issue, kind of, sort of. I thought there was potential in it. I really liked the discussion over celebrityness, celebrity culture. So yeah, I did like that a lot for Pop issue 1, and I thought it was intriguing to see that this girl went missing. Like, oh, what are these group of villains and these scientists want this girl for? What's so special about her? And why did they create celebrities? It was intriguing. And the art was very light tone, which I didn't really like that much, so that was kind of something I didn't like. Also, I felt like it was too detailed in a way. There was just too much going on with the panel. I think there was like 14 panels on one page. I'm being a little bit exaggerating there, but there are a lot of panels for a page, so I think that also was a little bit of a negative for the series. So with issue 2, there was definitely a little less here. It didn't grab me. It's only a 4-issue miniseries, and this just did not grab me enough. I don't think the character that ran away developed enough. I thought she was interesting, but she wasn't enough to say, hey, let me hold on to Pop. There just wasn't enough there. The villains are not interesting enough. There's a lot of drug use here, which I'm not a big fan of drug use in comic books. That'll be a whole different topic, but I'm not a big fan of it. I know it's creative, but I personally do not like it. So there's a lot of that here, and I just think it's a little out there. I think there's a lot of potential here, but they're just not really striking it enough. They're not utilizing it. It's, for me, not enough here. So I gave this 2.5 stars. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not enough for me to get issue 3. Alright, so number 13 is Cartoon Network Super Secret Crisis War issue 4. This is another series that I was actually really looking forward to and just been disappointed with. I loved Cartoon Network growing up. Loved Cartoon Network, Disney, Nickelodeon, all those shows, all those channels. And Cartoon Network, all these characters I grew up with. Ben 10 a little less, because that came a little after my childhood, but I still watched Ben 10, because it actually was a really good show, up to Ben 10 and Alien Force, and even the show after that, I think Ultimate or something it was called. I don't remember what it was called. The third one was pretty good too, but now it's just like really kiddie. But yeah, like Powerpuff Girls is like one of my favorite TV shows ever. Is one of my favorite shows as a kid too, so it's a little and Dexter, too, is awesome. So it's a little disappointing that all these heroes and these characters come together. Ed, Edd and Eddy is here, too, somehow. And the villains, I don't think are enough of a threat. It's kind of boring to see these robots attack the heroes. I would like to see these heroes connect a little bit more. Maybe have a bigger threat. Of course, I love seeing the villains come together, but it's just, like, kind of wacky dialogue. Of course, it's a kid book, but I think usually with these Cartoon Network books, you're not reminded it's a kid book. I think it's an all-ages book, and with this, it kind of feels a little dumbed down, and it's a little bit too much action. There's not enough story going on here, and as a fan, I think their demographic is, the kids and the adults that might be reading this to their kids and remember these shows. So you think there'd be a little bit more story here, and there really isn't. I think the cliffhanger, though, for this issue is kind of interesting, because we get to see Mojo Jojo might switch sides. He might become a good guy here, which definitely fits into his character because he's done it before. So I thought that was pretty intriguing, and Ed and Eddy just kind of floating around there. But yeah, so it was an okay issue. I think it's better than what we've been getting, but also there's just so much potential for this book that they're just not utilizing. And artwork's pretty good too. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I thought it was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. Pretty sure. Maybe it was 2.5 I gave it. Yeah, I gave it 2.5. It's has potential, but also I'm just a little disappointed with it, so 2.5. Number 12. Futures End, issue 21. This has definitely been an improvement of what we've been getting with Futures End, so there's nothing, again, horrible except Pop I didn't really love. Nothing horrible this week. With Futures End, I thought the art really brought it down. The art was very sloppy and lazy in my opinion. We get to see stuff with detail and just kind of looks sloppy. I don't know. You didn't really get to see people's facial expressions, especially with such a emotional, action-y issue. There just wasn't a lot there art-wise. But with this issue, it definitely leads into the next weekly series, which is the Earth 2 weekly series. That's another thing. I mean, this does connect with Futures End. It connects to why these Earth 2 people have been trapped in Cadmus, and I like that portion that we learn a little bit more about that. But it connects a little bit too much to Earth 2. I think this could have been a better first issue for Earth 2 than it is an issue for Futures End. There's just a lot more for Earth 2. So that's my opinion with that. But I liked it. I think it's just people saying, hey, pick up this new weekly series. It's a little bit more of a promotion. I don't know if they actually mentioned the promotion. They probably do by the end. Knowing DC. No, they actually don't. I don't think they do. They only mention Futures End, so I applaud DC for that. But yeah, it really does lead into that Earth 2 issue, so maybe they should have advertised it. It's like, also pick up Earth 2, because it continues from there. But yeah, overall, I thought the story was okay. Nothing too shocking here. We all knew that Lois survived. We all knew that Hawkgirl survived, and all these characters survived. But it's interesting to see how they got there. So overall, for a little interesting tidbit, it's an okay issue. So I'm going to overall give it 3 stars. But again, the artwork really brought it down. Even though the story was pretty okay. I would have given this a 3.5 if the artwork wasn't as lazy and sloppy. Alright, so let's move on to number 11. Which is Harley Quinn, Futures End, issue 1. I'm so confused with this issue because I like some aspects of it. We get to see that Harley is trapped on this island, meets the Joker, about to marry the Joker, and the Joker tricks her to throw her into a volcano, but it ends up all being a dream anyways, it seems like. So what did I think about it? I thought there were some funny things, but some awkward things at the same time, like the beaver. The beaver is always awkward. I hate the beaver. But the beaver, he's dead and still talking to Harley Quinn, and she puts her around her neck, and I'm like, that's a little out there, really weird, and I think a little bit crossed the line there. The beaver is weird. And then the Joker stuff I thought was pretty funny. I think it could have been a little bit better. Like, you have the Joker and Harley Quinn. You can have a lot more comedy here. And a lot of comedy just doesn't pull through, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, there's still some good stuff, too. You know, Harley's getting married to the Joker. There's some good stuff there. Like, they make fun of, I can't think of that movie name. Tom Hanks, I think? Maybe not Tom Hanks. I do not know who's in the movie either. But the one where they have, like, the coconut and they pretend to be a person because he's stranded. It's not the movie. It's not the name of the movie, though. It's not Stranded. I don't remember. It's a very popular movie. I can't think of it right now. But she makes fun of it by having a soccer ball, and I thought that was a good reference. So, yeah, I mean, it's very... I'm polarized with them. But it's just like the series. I'm polarized with this series. I like Harley. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's just like, what is this? Like, why is this beaver around her neck? So I'm going to give it 3 stars. If you're a Harley Quinn, pick it up. If you like Joker and Harley, pick it up. But if you're not, and you need some room on your pull list, you don't need to pick this issue up. So, yeah, 3 stars. Definitely making you guys decide on this one if you want to pick it up. Alright, now we're up to number... Let's see. We're up to number 10, which is Batman Eternal, issue 25. And, yeah, this issue actually had a really good story. I like the story. We get to see the Bat family coming together, and Tim and Jason are all agreeing that, hey, we need to help Batman, and we need to be a family again. So I did like that aspect a lot of the issue. We get to see, you know, Penny 2, Alfred's daughter, come into the fold a little bit more. So all those things are really good, but... the thing that really brought the issue down once again is the artwork. It was super blocky. It was not good artwork, even though the story was pretty good. Like, I thought it was a good story. I like that the Bat family end up coming together. We get to see Batgirl there too, so all the Bat family's there. But the artwork just did not fit here. I don't know. For something that was a good story, it just brought it down because of this artwork. For me. So overall, I had to give it 3. I think if it was better artwork, I could have given this a 3.5/4, but brought the issue down a lot for me, and even the coloring I felt like didn't fit as much, so 3 stars for me. I'm a little disappointed because the story was actually pretty good here. Alright, so now we're moving on to number 9, which is Booster Gold, Futures End, issue 1. So I wasn't expecting to get Booster Gold. A lot of people recommended me to get it, and Jay said, you gotta read Booster Gold, it's very important. So I picked it up, and I really never read Booster Gold before. I read a couple things he's in, but definitely never a solo series of Booster Gold. And I wasn't expecting to get into ongoing because he's just a character I've never been totally interested in, but like I know a lot of people like his character. But with this issue, it really goes back to what's been going on with the New 52 with this character, that he's jumping these multiverses, and he was in Justice League International, he was in Jonah Hex, so he's just been jumping all these different universes. And we get to see that a lot here. We get to see him jump all these places, and that's honestly what brought it down for me, is that he jumped too many places, that you couldn't really stick with the story for where he jumped. I'm like, oh, he's in Metropolis, oh wait, what's going on? But it's also that potential of him going to the DC Universe of the pre-New 52, which makes me want to read issue 1 of Booster Gold. So what I applaud this issue for is that I'm going to probably pick up Booster Gold issue 1, because there is that potential I felt here. But I do think it was very cluttered. The art was average. So for me, as someone that just started reading Booster Gold, I liked the issue enough to get issue 1, but I didn't like it enough to say, hey, you have to pick up this issue. So I don't know. Yeah, so I thought is okay. I think it's definitely leading into something else though. So honestly, I would say you have to pick up this issue because it definitely leads into things. So even if you're not a Booster Gold fan, I would say try to pick it up. But story-wise, I don't know if you want to pick it up because I didn't love the story. Alright, so now we're up to number 7, right? No, we're up to number 8. Number 8 is Spider-Verse, Edge of Spider-Verse issue 3. This issue, I was actually pleasantly surprised with it because the beginning felt very boring. I'm like, oh, I don't really care about this character. I don't care if he's a scientist. There's nothing special about him. Especially since I was so impressed with, obviously, the Gwen Stacy issue and even the Spider-Man Noir issue. So I was like, how could this issue beat that? And honestly, I thought it was actually pretty good, this issue. We get to see a connection with the villain he's trying to fight with his real life, which is that this girl Hannah, who his old girlfriend's daughter is about to die, and she's doing everything in her power to save this girl, and she ends up kind of becoming the villain of the story, and seeing all these robots go attack him, or these wounded people are being controlled by these robots, which got a little confusing. I'm like, how is this happening? I don't know. But I thought it was good. Did I love the character? No. Do I want to see the character again? Probably not. But would I pick up another issue of this character if I had to? No. But I thought it was an okay story. I don't know what to really lean towards because you don't really need the issue, but it's intriguing enough. So if you want to get another issue, go with if you want another issue on your pull list, yeah, go for it. Pick up Edge of Spider-Verse, but it's not necessarily a great one-shot, and necessarily you don't really need it. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I thought it was okay, but I was actually more surprised at this issue because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Even though it wasn't like tremendously good, I just expected it not to be good at all, honestly. So I was surprised by it. I liked it. Alright, number 7 is Butterfly, issue 1. And this issue, the reason I got this was because it's from Boom Studios. I haven't picked up a Boom Studios book in a while, and the summary intrigued me. It reminded me of Alias, where we get to see this daughter who thought her father was dead, and he's actually not dead. So that's pretty much the whole issue 1. I actually expected this issue to be a lot higher because I really liked the coloring for this book. Loved it. But the art was very blocky. If it was a different colorist, you could tell that the art probably wouldn't have been as good. So that's one thing that was a downfall of Butterfly. But also, the character in general was kind of a downfall. Like, I like the story surrounding the character. I like that she finds her father, and the father's still alive, and he's kind of very similar to her. But both these characters are so robotic. You're reading their narration, you just kind of don't care about the character. So that was kind of a disappointment. I mean, I still cared enough about the story, and there's definitely potential with both these characters, because you get that background, but they're really robotic, and I hope we get an explanation of why this girl is so robotic, because you don't really get to see that transition between her being this little girl who, you know, learned how to shoot to this secret agent who doesn't have a name anymore. You don't see that transition. I think that could have been smart to have in this issue to care about this character, because honestly, maybe there wasn't enough room because it's a mini-series, but that would have intrigued me a little bit more with this issue. But I am going to pick up issue 2. I do think it has a lot of potential, and I really love the coloring for this book. So I'm going to give this issue 3.5. That's what I'm leaning towards. I thought, you know, there's something I did like about it. Alright, let's move on to number 6, which is Outcast, issue 4. This is another book that's just tremendously has great artwork. Every month I pick it up, the artwork just surprises me. It's so cinematic in a way because the sound effects it makes, the paneling, I love it. I think that's what really intrigues me about this book, probably more than the story, is the artwork, and that's what's bringing me every week to, or every month to pick up this issue. It's that cinematic tone to the book. And even, again, the coloring is great for this too. But the story's pretty good. I like this issue. I thought it was pretty good. We get to see that our main character is changing. He's definitely not as, hey, get away from me type of person that we saw in the first issue. He's really trying to own these powers and try to get back to his wife and kid and try to get that respect again. And we learn a little bit more about the secondary characters. But the mission is about this guy who's lost everything also. And he just wants to see why his best friend killed his wife and what he's being possessed over. So we have our main character trying to figure this all out with the priest. So I thought overall it was a pretty good story. Again, did it blow my mind? Is it my favorite story ever? No. And do I wish it was a little less villain of the week type story? Yeah, I wish there was this overarching story a little bit more that, you know, seeps into the issues a little bit more. But I did like it. I did like the issue, and I'm sticking with this series because I do think it has a lot of potential, and there's something here. There definitely is something here, and it's building up. So I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I really did like it, and I say stick with Outcast. I have a feeling it's going to get really good. Alright, so let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is Sinestro Futures End, issue 1. I was really impressed with this issue, honestly. Really enjoyed it. We get to see that Sinestro is imprisoned and his family has died. His core has died, just like his planet has died. And once he escapes this prison, he decides, I'm not a Yellow Lantern. I'm not a Green Lantern. I'm a Black Lantern. And I thought that ending was awesome. And also the art was really good for this series. Did I love the prison story? I think that's where we kind of brought the issue down. That I think this issue could have been higher if the prison story wasn't so lengthy, and because I didn't think you really need the prison outbreak as much. I think they could have really focused more on Sinestro, which I love the narration here. The narration was perfect for Sinestro, but story-wise, balloon bubble-wise, they could have focused a little bit more on Sinestro's story as a whole than this prison, which I wasn't totally interested in. But yeah, that cliffhanger made this issue. For Sinestro to become a Black Lantern just made so much sense. And as I've been saying about Sinestro, if you want something like Jeff Johns' run, read Sinestro, because that's what reminds me as much of Jeff Johns' run. Is the best Lantern book out there, hands down. It's so good. Narration's great. They have Sinestro so much in character. I was also impressed they made the daughter a Yellow Lantern here. I thought that was just interesting development from what we've been getting from the current series. So yeah, you know, does it connect to Futures End? Not really. I think that's also a little bit of a downfall. It doesn't really connect to it, but it was actually a really good one-shot. So I give it 4 stars and definitely recommend Sinestro Futures End. So let's move on to number 4, which is Robyn Hood Ongoing, issue 2. Really solid book. I enjoyed this a lot. As I was reading it, I was like, I want more. I want to learn more about these new characters. Now, what this is about is another priest. There's a lot of priests this week. It's about a priest who wants everyone's souls and gave these sports people, roller derby people, drug to steal their soul. And Robyn Hood has to figure out how to get these souls back and defeat the priest. And there's also this other character who keeps following Robyn Hood, and she doesn't really know how to trust him, and he's like, trust me, I'm a good guy. And is like, does anyone believe he's a good guy? No. No one believes that he's a good guy. So I think that character really intrigued me a lot. I think his name was Sam. Pretty sure it was. Maybe not. I think his name was Sam. I think it is. Hopefully I learned the character's name as the series goes on, but I thought he was really intriguing. So overall, I was excited to read the next issue. It was a really solid story, good cliffhanger, and I want to see where this goes. Very solid. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Robyn Hood was really interesting, and art was really good too. Alright, let's move on to number 3, which is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 1.5, a solid ending, and honestly a really cute ending. We get to see how Spider-Man decides to be a jokester and have a heart and really turn into the Spider-Man we all know and love. The first 4 issues, it really wasn't Spider-Man who we knew. The Spider-Man we knew, again, always joked around, had that heart, and he didn't really care that much in the first couple issues, mainly because he didn't have the great power with great responsibility quote in his head. But with this, I love those Aunt May who told Peter, you know what Uncle Ben would want you to do? Have a heart and just laugh. And I thought Aunt May was really strong here. It was actually one of the best scenes I've seen with Aunt May in a really long time. So I thought that was really cool. And it was cool to see Peter defeat his first villain, which was Clash, which I think was a good strength of a villain where he wasn't too high up, but he also could relate to Peter on different levels. Also, the artwork of this series really impressed me too. I thought the artwork was really well done, fit the series well, and let me just say, that last page impressed me so much, and I love the last line here, to be continued forever and ever. And we get to see some Spider-Man scenes in the background. Love that last page, and he just says, and it's going to be amazing. So yeah, you know, as a Spider-Man fan, it just hit the heartstrings, and it was just really well done. Do you have to read this issue by issue? Probably not. I think this is a better series read and trade, but definitely recommend reading if you don't know much about Spider-Man, or if you're a big Spider-Man fan. If you're in between, you don't really need to read this, but if you're a humongous Spider-Man fan like me, or you don't know much about Spider-Man, that's a really good place to start reading this mini-series, because I thought it was really well done, and hits to what Spider-Man's all about. And I gotta say, that Aunt May scene really got to me, so, and the last scene. So overall, really solid issue. I give it 4 stars. Number 2 is The Flash, issue 1 of Futures End. Really surprised with this one. There we go. This actually reminded me a lot of Buccellato and Manapul's run, where you would have that build-up, you know, it's like, I know something's gonna happen, then you have that explosion of an issue, like a lot of the Rogues issues, and honestly the Reverse Flash issues were a lot like that, and it really reminded me of that run, which I love their run, and I do think that Venditti does a better job with Flash, obviously, than Green Lantern. I just do not like his run on Green Lantern, but I do think he knows what he's doing with the Flash, and it kind of gives it a different spin on the Flash, but with also still keeping a lot of the same notions as the Buccellato and Manapul run. I like this issue a lot because a lot happened, and usually these Futures End stories are these like kind of throwaway stories where you don't really need them, and sometimes they connect to Futures End. Now with this, it doesn't connect to Futures End as much, but it does connect to the future, and it connects a lot to what's going on with Flash, and it has a lot of progression, so you actually need to read this issue. If you're a Flash fan, if you're reading Flash, you gotta read this issue. Can't skip it. So with this issue, we get to see that that Barry finds out about the future Flash. You finally see them meet up. So that build up that I've been talking about, it finally explodes here. And they meet up, and the future Flash, he's a new guy. He's still Barry, but he's new because he kills Reverse Flash. And Iris and Wally are like, what? How did you do that? Why did you do that? And Iris is like, that's my brother. Who the hell are you? Flash, why did you do that? Because they think it's Flash, you know, even though he's blue and he has all these lightning things, all the Speed Force popping at him, he still thinks, you know, he's the Flash of today. But anyway, so we get to see that, and he's like, no, I want to save you, you're going to be in a wheelchair, Wally's going to die, and now Barry comes, the real Flash, the present Flash comes and says, who the hell are you? And they fight, and the future Flash reveals he's Barry Allen, and then Iris and Wally find out Barry Allen is the Flash, and Wally is okay with this, and he's like, Barry's the Flash, I gotta save him, and he tries to push the future Flash away, and he gets powers. He becomes Kid Flash, which we kind of saw coming. He's Wally West. Of course, he's going to become Kid Flash, and we don't know if Barry's going to survive. He's really hurt here, and that's the end of the issue, and Wally's going to try to go after the future Flash. There's a lot that happens here. We get to see Daniel die. People find out that Barry is Flash. Wally becomes Kid Flash. There's so much that happens in this one issue that was really interesting. And even though this is still not my Wally, it has some glimmers of Wally, you know, in this issue. And, you know, at least I'm liking Wally a little bit more than I did in past issues. Because I really like the fact of, you know, even Daniel dying, he really trusts Barry in the end. He's like, you're the Flash. He wasn't angry about it. He went out and sacrificed his life, almost sacrificed his life to save Barry. I thought that said a lot to Wally's character, and I was very impressed by that with this issue. So overall, I think it progressed the story a lot here. The artwork was pretty good. I think it fits Flash a lot more than it did Teen Titans. And overall, I honestly just really like the issue. So 4.5 for me. And I'm looking forward to see where Flash goes. So what is number 1? That is Superman Futures End issue 1. I was totally impressed by this. You know, with other Superman titles we've been getting with Futures End, they haven't been tackling the thing that I felt like is most interesting with Futures End, and the most interesting thing about Superman Futures End is that Shazam's Superman, and Lois revealed that Shazam is Superman, and we get to see that tackled full throttle here. We get to see that everyone knows that Shazam is Superman and how people react to that he's a liar. And Lois doesn't say sorry about it. Of course she's not going to say sorry. But she says, as a friend, and you know, this is definitely not the Billy Batson New 52, because Billy Batson New 52 would be like, get away from me, woman. Get away. Because he's a little bit arrogant. But you can see he's either matured or they're going back to that status quo of pre-New 52 Captain Marvel. But we get to see that she says, as a friend, I just want to say, make your own identity. I know you care about Superman for some reason, and Shazam tells the story of why he respects Superman so much. And she's like, I know you care, but you gotta make your own identity, and you could save the world by just being you. And I thought that was just a really heartfelt message, and we get to see that towards the end of the issue. And I guess this friendship bond between and grow between Lois and Billy, and I liked it. And the artwork, the coloring was great. Artwork fit really well for it. Honestly, I just had a fun time reading this, and I thought it was very heartfelt. It was a good story, good progression. I liked it a lot. It was great. So I give Futures End Superman issue 1 4.5 stars, and that's my pick of the week. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, tell me your pick of the week and worst pick of the week in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rant Situations. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, don't forget to check out the comic book Like Father, Like Daughter description below. Don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And of course, I'll Comic Uno episode 67 next week. It might be a little late. Check out my update video for more information about that. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.